Hello everybody. I wanted to pay some more attention to all the people who have been kind, respectful and supportive to me over my years as a content creator, whether they be longtime friends or complete strangers. I'll also tell some stories regarding certain comments to provide context. Let's get into it. This video won't be having a lot of editing, by the way. It'll just be, me. So, Arrow Addict says, "This is so close to what I imagined Billy would sound like when I read the comics. Great work all around." Yeah, so when Aidan Hall originally auditioned for the part of Billy, when I first did Jedi Council Acts of War, I wrote in the description that Billy should sound cartoony, even though he doesn't, he isn't really that funny in Acts of War, but I already had this idea that I might want to do more stories, even though back then it wasn't set in stone, so to say, and thankfully Aidan did reprise the role in Billy's future appearances. Mario vs. Bowser says, "I can't believe the voice of Darth Maul sounded just like Sam Witwer. It sounded almost identical to him, and all the other voices were fantastic." Yeah, I don't know how I got such an amazing voice cast. I'm really flattered. This was under the Old Wounds comic dub, so Darth Maul was voiced by Sonam Burke in that. He is the second voice for the character because he was voiced by the voice chameleon in Acts of War, but the voice chameleon, well, he kinda disappeared. I don't know what happened to him, but I can't get into contact with him anymore, and neither can anyone else who worked with him apparently. But yes, Sonam Burke does an absolutely incredible impersonation of Sam Witwer, and not just his Darth Maul voice, but he can do Starkiller. He even did Sam Witwer himself to prank somebody into thinking that one of his friends was hanging out with Sam Witwer. It's really incredible, and I'm glad to be working with him and all my other cast. And thus am I says, "Spectacular voice work. Perfectly casted." Kevin Vasango says, "Whoever the Millennium Falcon was who disliked this amazing work of art is literally just jealous they can't create something this great themselves." Wow. That's some very high praise there, Kevin. Thank you. Obvious. I don't agree fully. Of course, if I do like really obscure comics and in what's already a kind of a niche subculture on YouTube, yeah, it's not gonna appeal to everyone. I get it, but yeah, thank you for the nice praise, Kevin. And if you're jealous of me, like, don't be negative. Just work on yourself. You can get to my level. I'm sure of it. Hakachicho says, "Fantastic episode. Everyone worked perfectly together and brought the story to life. Supporting music drew me in as well. I have ADHD, so focusing is hard, but I had no problem staying in the story here. The Anzati voice was awesome." Now, this guy is actually our first comment from an actual cast member. That is Aaron Waters, who is actually the voice of the story itself. He's the guy who you hear at the beginning of every episode saying, "Last time on this story," and he also did the narration in Twilight and once in Darkness. He also does the voice of Master Thorn. So yeah, I'm glad that this is one of the that he apparently enjoys it as a cast member and as a viewer both. I also really like when people talk about the music, because that's one of the thing I enjoy the most while editing. Background music is always something I pay a lot more attention to when I edit, and I feel like a lot of other creators don't really care as much about the music as I do. So yeah, I'm glad to know that I'm doing it well apparently. The Anzati voice he's talking about, this was under Darkness Part 3, so he could have been talking either about Volpe Kako, who was voiced by the incredibly talented Roy Banalas, who I know from voicing Captain Horenzo in Dragon Ball Epsilon, where I was Kari Furawa, We was talking about the nameless Inzati who almost captured Quinlan Voss in this. In which case?
That was me. Uh, no soup for master only, but I'm so hungry.
And yeah, that is a... yeah, that is a voice I'm proud of. It's one I like doing, but it's not one I get to do that often. But hey, if you have like a really creepy character and you want that voice, just hit me up. I'm sure we can arrange something. Marshall Latta says, I love your videos. They are so cool. Thanks. Morgan Bedrau says, you're amazing with these. The Aura Singh comic dubs are my favorites. Mostly because Cilia is even better than the original Clone Wars actor. Yeah, when I read a comic, Cilia's with Aura Singh in it, Cilia's the voice I hear. Fully agree. Nothing against the Clone Wars actress, but I don't think she's the original one. I think Aura was like in some games before that and was voiced by a different actress. Azora Star Jedi Knight says, okay, I love the Quinlan Voss comic dub you posted. Everyone, including you, did an awesome job on the voices. I was legit counting down the hours. The live premiere was fun. Thank you very much. That's what I love about the live premieres. People are really hyped up whenever I do one of those, and sometimes even people I don't even know. I'm usually like, I'll invite my friends, maybe they'll come, but then there's some people who I don't even know tell me about just how much they're looking forward to it, and that's great, you know? Okay, here's an Anon message, that I got on Discord. I didn't want to say this in the Avatar chat, but I was in a dark place in 2019 to 2021, and I was watching Star Wars YouTube content, which brought me bit of light in that dark time, so thank you, man. Yeah, what can I say to that? Usually hear stuff about how someone watches like a show and it helps him like deal with their depression, but to know that my show did that, like, this is incredible. It's downright incredible. I can't really describe the feeling, but to know I've helped a complete stranger without knowing it, that's fantastic. And the thing is, I got this I got this when I entered a server on Discord, and I didn't expect anybody to know me, but then there was somebody who actually knew me and told me, hey, I really like your videos. And yeah, I'm at the point where I actually get recognized sometimes. Like, wow, I didn't think I'd make it this far, honestly. I still can't believe I have made it this far. So I said, well, I had no idea anyone except the person who invited me in the group would know who I am, so having a longtime fan is quite the positive surprise. And that person said, just a fan of maybe 4 years. So I answered, that's almost since the beginning. Yep. Never let anyone tell you that your work doesn't matter. Yeah, like, I'm already happy about the messages that are like, wow, your work is so cool, I liked it. Like, come on, this is even more special, you know? A fine addition to my collection, says, holy crap, that was incredible. I could have sworn that was Sam Witwer voicing Maul. And yeah, Sonam Burke sounds completely indistinguishable from Sam Witwer as Maul, like, who knows, maybe they're the same person, like, if any voice actor at Lucasfilm would have like a fake persona in order to be part of fan films as well, it would probably be Sam Witwer. I'm onto you, Sonam. Oh yeah, this isn't really fan mail related to my videos, but I wanted to put it here anyways. So a user called Kothor on Discord sent me like a gif of somebody crying saying, you all know I'm a thug. I can't be in here crying. So I responded, well, you can't spell thug without a hug. And Kothor's reaction to this was to post it around and say, in case you all didn't know, Autotech is a damn genius with wisdom far exceeding his years. Oh. Thanks! Oh yeah, another time I got recognized in a Discord server. Wait a second, I thought I recognized your name. The Comic Dubs! I love those videos! I actually know you through your Tony J impression, since I was looking for a specific video, and then yours popped up. After that, I decided to see what else you did, and lo and behold, there were your videos. Well, I thought most people know me because of the Comic Dubs, but well, let me try if I can do the Tony J voice right now.
You see, Tony J was my oldest voice impression. I started doing this one in about 2014, so 10 years ago.
Well, it's about time I get good at it. But yeah, yeah, I do some diverse content. You could call it disorganized, but you could also say I have a lot of passions and creative outlets, and yeah, if more than one hits your fancy, then I guess my channel is something for you then. Oh yeah, here's somebody else who shares my video around, who shared my playlist around. Star Wars enthusiasts, I've been going through this amazing playlist provided by the amazing Auditect, and I highly recommend it. I have read the Dark Horse Clone Wars comics, and these stories gives me that vibe, even though they take place before Episode 1 for the most part. Some even take place before Episode 1. I think you meant to say they take place before Episode 2 for the most part, but fun stuff! I just finished an amazing arc featuring the incredible Quinlan Voss. And somebody replied to that, Auditect's content has always been high quality. Wild that I can actually talk to him now. People think it's wild they get to talk to little old me. You know, back in 2019, I had like another thing like this that was, I think, either before I did Star Wars comics or when I was just starting out. But I was in a DC Batman animated series roleplay server, and there was this really talented artist, and it turns out they were a fan of Dragon Ball Epsilon, so I told them I voiced Lieutenant Kari Furawa in that, and quoted some of the lines, and they said, like a day later, I was in a call with that person again, and they said they bragged to their brother that they got to talk to me, and I made it. People brag about getting to talk to me. I don't believe it. Yeah, that was before I even did Star Wars comics. I made it. Oh yeah, here's me getting recognized again. I actually seen his stuff before, though when I checked, I immediately recognized your voice. So you wrote a bit on the Star Wars theory algorithm. Congrats. So I said a stranger immediately recognized my voice? That's actually incredible, oh my gosh. And Arad Geem says, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, but I'm excited I get to talk to a Star Wars content creator. People are excited to talk to me. I can't believe it. I'm not that hard to reach. If you comment something, I'll probably reply to it. Oh yeah, this was Kotha, the user who called me, who said I have extreme wisdom above my years earlier. And this was her first reaction to meeting me. Like, she didn't recognize me. But when we first met, she said, welcome, welcome. I love your energy. What a resume you got. Awesome possum. You and this group feels like an excellent match. We're honored to have you. Hope we all have fun making magic together. This is something I love about being part of Creative Project. You meet so many other wonderfully talented and kind people. It's incredible. Oh, here's Orion Zax. He's also a voice actor in our series. He voiced some of the Yanchori in Jedi Council Acts of War. He took over Yoda. He was Saisi Tin, and he was Tsui Choi. He was Jabba, and he actually gave me the idea of translating the dialogue into Huttese, and that was very well received. So thank you for that, Orion, and please check out his channel. There, you get a lot of great stuff on there too. He's an excellent voice actor and animator, but I'm holding off on reading his comment. Lol, my gosh, that was so wholesome, excellent work. The musical choices were very good as well. Even though I couldn't tell what they were, they matched the beautifully drawn visuals perfectly. And as always, your voice actors and you do an excellent job portraying these characters, be they slaying in Chori or cooking for the Huts. Keep it up, bro. Yeah, so this was, as the last line implied, this was posted under Jedi Chef. Jedi Chef used music from a different album, from Cartoons, which is an album composed by Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly is a guy who you may... Tim Kelly was the composer behind several Saturday morning cartoons, such as Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain, and even Disney's Tarzan. Yeah, so this dude is just, like, insane, but in a good way. Because this guy doesn't reuse music. Like, every scene in those cartoons has, like, new music, and it doesn't get reused, and there aren't really scenes that don't have music playing in them, and it just... And it's played on an actual orchestra, too. I don't think Tarzan was, I think that was synthesized, but still, imagine composing music for every single scene in every single episode of Pinky and the Brain and the Animaniacs and Disney's Tarzan with an actual orchestra too. Like, yeah, working with his cartoon soundtrack was really, really fun. It was really nostalgic, and I was honestly looking for an excuse to use it in something. And yeah, and Orion wasn't in Jedi Chef, but honestly that makes me appreciate his comment even more, because that lets me know they don't just like my videos as they cast them, but they actually like it as an audience, and that's like one of the best things you can ask from your voice actors. Nick the Pick says, wow, just wow. First off, this was amazing as a first-time watch when exposed to this story. This is also the first time I read this comic to boot. The performances all helped carry the thrills and turns. And yeah, this story made me feel twisted by the end. Heck, the poor Wampus with those brain implants. A part of me wonders if any survived and just ended up standing there, waiting for orders until they died in the snow. Not that Aura cares. I found myself laughing during the whole Tatooine sequence. Top-notch start, I'd say. And by start, I mean for me. I'm gonna make it a regular thing to watch these. Thanks for sharing them with me. I want to take in every detail. Well, I think I made a good impression on Nick. Woke says, appropriate that this is a Star Wars story, seeing as the production and the performances are out of this world. You've really captured the soul of the character, and the sound design brings so much life to things. Awesome job. This was posted under The Death of Captain Tarpals, where I voiced every single character, so yeah, thanks for liking my performances. High praise. Aitor Molina says, this was very well made. Not only was the voice acting so great it was like hearing the actual characters, but the attention to detail and sound and music was perfect. Thank you, Aitor. Christy says, a fabulous job from an extremely talented voice actor. Bravo, God bless you. Thanks. Gary Scale says, it was great to voice Mace in this awesome project. Yeah, I think, well, I would tell you, yeah, this is the guy who voices Mace, but, well, I think you already figured that out from the comment, and yeah, I think, okay, if you're a voice actor, you probably have like one project you're not that proud of, but I'm glad I don't appear to be this for any of my voice cast. Like, everyone is having a great time, everyone loves the fact they were in it. And really, what else can I ask? Ryan Pratt says, great to be a part of this. This was under Jedi Council Acts of War. He was in that as Eth Koth, so also glad that he enjoyed being in it, but he would also play two other characters, Slabadrul from Jedi Chef, which is a minor role, and he would go on to play Asherad Head, which is an even bigger role. So, yeah. I'm glad that there's such two talented actors, it was two in a row, two amazingly incredible actors. See my work as something as they're proud being in. Okay, Star Wars Audio Comics says, another great entry. This is a neat story. It's fun to see and hear Yaddle and some other lesser shown Jedi. Yeah, Star Wars Audio Comics was an inspiration for this, because, I used to think comic dubs are just like these, dubbing these short little fan comics you would see doodled on Tumblr, which is also great, but, when these guys did a comic dub of Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, I realized it could be something even greater, and, I got one of my, I got my first Star Wars voiceover job ever as the voice of Fife and Brother Viscus in their Son of Dathomir dub. I've since been replaced as Viscus because, you see, I forgot he was in the show, and just looking at the character,
I figured he would have a deep voice similar to Maul or Savage Opress.
And I forgot he was in the show, and he's voiced by Steven Stanson, who gave him this really high voice, which I don't think suits him very well. I was the first person to ever voice Fife, though, and he has since appeared in a new Clone Wars episode, and he's voiced by D. Bradley Baker, who sounds pretty much exactly like all of D. Bradley Baker's other characters in the show, and nothing against, like, this isn't supposed to be a jab against him, but I feel like some of the characters who aren't clones that he voices in the show sound too close to the clone troopers, and Fife is no exception, unfortunately. Green Ghost Supreme says, read this comic as a kid and hadn't thought about it in years. Always remember it being a favorite. Randomly came across this video and it felt like a key unlocking something. Thank you so much for the hard work and dedication to make these stories come to life. Yeah, nostalgia's a wonderful thing, isn't it? Thanks Gringo, I'm glad it's appreciated. Victor Kennedy says, your job is magnificent. Your dedication put on this really makes me happy to know there are people like you who remember what is Star Wars. Yeah, thanks. Andrew Crover says, great video. All the voices and editing go great together. Thanks. Brandon Forsyth says, very well done. The Force is truly strong with you guys. The voices are awesome. Yeah, I am quite proud of the voice cast I gathered. Yeah, I don't know how I got such a good voice cast. Like, this was some serious beginner's luck, like, to already have so many amazing people in the first episode. Well, I could, and it's a comic with so many, like, important characters, like, important movie characters and stuff, but hey, I couldn't be happier with the voice actors I have. Masked Flare says, I don't know much about Star Wars, but this is really well done. Yeah, you see, I know that. I'm kind of doing a pretty niche thing here. Comic dubs aren't super well known, and most people dub like some new and relevant and current stuff, but I dub some older, lesser known ones, so I don't expect to get that popular from it. But yeah, sometimes I even get people saying they aren't even really Star Wars fans, but they enjoy my videos, which wow, more than I could have bargained for. Orion Zax again says, this has been quite the journey. It was a pleasure and an honor to be part of it. Thank you, and may the Force be with you and the rest and the cast. Now and always. Knit the Pix again says, I really, really like this story. Well done. Performances all around are excellent and sold me on their impressions of the characters. The scenes that stood out the most to me were May's voice wavering in some scenes because of his shoulders were carrying those burdens of the leadership he takes with him. Way easier to love this version of Mace than we see on film. I won't lie, Micah Giat is a Jedi I wouldn't mind looking up later. I want to see more of his adventures with Plo Koon. The rest of the Jedi sensing his sacrifice fills me with sorrow as well, despite only knowing the guy briefly. You get this sense that he was really loved within the Order. And of course, the only one who gets anything out of this is Palpatine. Can't wait to see the rest. My compliments to all the voice actors who helped make this possible. Yeah, thanks to all the voice actors also from me. And Micah Giat's death was always one that struck me as really effective in how I made it. Like the idea to use the that choir piece there and the silence, it felt unusual, but it felt right, and I don't think I could have come up with anything better. But yeah, a lot of other people tell me that this was the greatest part in all of Jedi Council Acts of War. So yeah, I'm proud of how it turned out. Sadly, there really aren't any other comics featuring Micah and Plo other than what I've already done. Sonny and I have actually voiced 100% of their interactions on screen. Micah also shows up in, I think it's called Jedi vs. Sith, but he doesn't interact with Plo Koon, and he doesn't even really feel like the same character. His mannerisms and sort of speaking feels more like Mace Windu than Micah. Also, what's kind of funny to think about, since Rey and Poe don't meet until the very end of Star Wars Episode 8, there might be more common screen time between Plo and Micah and Rey, Poe, and Finn. Like, I don't know, I haven't tried it out. But like even in Episode 9, Rey's usually running around doing her own thing, so there really isn't that much screen time with the trio. But so maybe Micah and Plo do have more screen time than them. The Kitty Door says, "Great job on this and great voice acting." And yeah, this is another comment coming from a guy that I actually am subscribed to. I really love his Lego Star Wars videos, especially those ridiculous top 10s. Yeah, his sense of humor is one that really gets to me. One of my favorite The Kitty Dog quotes was from his GBA Lego Star Wars video. "I spent so much time hearing the Yoda death sound that I was getting ready to hear my own death sound." And yeah, to have like a YouTuber I actually follow comment on my videos telling me they think it's great, and well, it's an achievement, you know? One I'm very proud of. Parker Callahan says, "These are absolutely incredible. I honestly can't get enough, and the amount of time and effort put into the sound effects and voice acting is phenomenal. I do hope you finish the Outlander issues and perhaps in the future continue working on issues from the Star Wars Republic series. And once again, great work as always." Yeah, a lot of people request me to do their favorite comics, and due to the very large amount of work that goes into each and every one, I can't really take requests. But it is very flattering that people want me to like do an adaptation of their favorite comics, because it means they think I could do it justice, which is great. Kevin Vasago says, "This is so dope. You deserve so many more views for this amazing work of art. Please keep making content, because this story and Acts of War are some of the coolest Star Wars content I've ever seen. I wish Lucasfilm themselves put this much hard work into their content, but we're just lucky to have dedicated fans such as yourself to do it. I watched Acts of War pretty much right after listening to the Plagueis audiobook, so it was mind-blowing to accidentally come across something this amazing that played right into the book. So I'll say it again, please don't stop making this content. These comic dubs are cool as frick and definitely will eventually get the recognition they deserve." I'm glad, and yeah, I definitely get what it's like when you accidentally experience something that ties into another piece of media. Like I played The Secret Droid Army on the Game Boy Advance, and in that, Obi-Wan says that he actually remembers encountering the effects of cortosis before, which sounds like a reference to Jedi Council Acts of War. Actually, these comics build up a lot of stuff for, future stories to pick up on, so that's always a plus when I get to read a Star Wars story and say, hey, I know when this was introduced. Oppa Rancisis actually voiced the in-universe Star Wars character Oppa Rancisis in Acts of War, so I should put on the voice, even though I know this guy doesn't actually sound like that.
So happy to see myself here. Thank you so much for including me.
Yeah. You're welcome. This guy does the child voices for most of my dubs. He was like the slave kid that made fun of Ki-Adi-Mundi in Outlander, and he He was like the child version of Quinlan Voss we see in the flashback of Darkness. He was little Anakin in Emissaries to Malastare. He was little Wooher in Aura's Song. And he's gonna be one of Ayako Stark's directors in a future issue of the Stark Hyperspace War. So look out for that if you like this user. Oh yeah, he also used to do really detailed analysis of my comic dubs, which is nice. And here's one where he really only had positives to say.
Several things. I loved the ambience of the flying cars on Coruscant. Really expands on the world and makes it far more developed and film-like and realistic. Loved your performance as Ki-Adi-Mundi in this. I already loved your performance in the first part, but I view this as an even better version. My second favorite Ki-Adi-Mundi of yours, after the one in the Battle of Hypori dub.
Oh yeah, Orion's Axe made a fan dub of the Battle of Hypori scene from the original Clone Wars. You have to check that out, it's freaking awesome.
Really liked the inclusion of the Mos Espa Street Band, and I'm not being negative or criticizing you here, just stating something. Was rather surprised to hear it played near Mos Eisley.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like folk music. I guess they can just play it whatever they want, and I think since this is the one from like episode 1, this one felt more thematically appropriate for me to put here.
Forget to say this last time around, but the Aura Singh voice is an incredible impression of Jamie King. I love that voice effect you added on the Rhodian. Finally, this one is really great in the atmosphere and really brings forward the feel of the location as if you're really there.
Yeah, that's because this one, I think, this was placed under Outlander Part 2, I believe, and that was the first one where that really took place mainly on a planet from the movies, and you know, it's kind of challenging in both ways, because if you do like a new planet like Yinchor or Kifex, you basically have to come up with a unique feel for that planet in terms of the ambience. But when you're on Tatooine, oh, you wanna the most iconic planet from all the films, then of course you want to match the way it feels in the films and have like all the right sounds and music and ambience and all that. And of course, the fact we spent so much time on Tatooine in Outlander made it easier to recreate the feel when we finally got to Old Wounds. Janobot says very cool. Janobot is also a pretty popular YouTuber who does a lot of like meme videos, so I'm glad he likes my videos too. That's incredible. Operantis again.
I loved how the comic faded out with the last sound. By far your best ending so far. I loved your performance due to how you both expressed pain, which is not something Ki-Adi-Mundi should experience going by Yoda's words.
I think Yoda meant like emotional pain and not physical pain.
When the arm was broken, and especially how you changed your voice several times mid-sentence, whenever the character changed feelings.
Yeah, so,
Ki-Adi-Mundi's voice is rather different from my own, so I'm glad I managed to express so much emotion from it.
Okay, Arius Storm says, absolutely loved this story as a kid and still love it today. You're doing an amazing job bringing it to life. Keep up the great work. Thanks. And yeah, you're welcome for the nice childhood memories. Candace Face says, amazing work to everyone. Wow, you put so much hard work and effort here. Candace Faith is another voice actress who was actually in the dubs. She did the Jawas in Outlander, which a lot of people were impressed by, and she also was very briefly like a system voice in Twilight Part 3. But yeah, I'm glad this is another one of the videos she's proud of, and she's been in a lot of great stuff. So yeah, I'm glad to have so many accomplished actors working with me. I can't express that enough. Sonam Berg says, this was probably the most engrossed I've been while watching an audio comic. Excellent work. Okay, if you've paid attention to the names of my actors, this one might sound familiar, but yeah, Sonam Berg is is part of my voice cast. Well, he wasn't when he wrote that comment, but I actually offered. I worked alongside him a couple of times, so when he wrote that, I said, yeah, I want to be in the next one. And he voiced one of the skiff guards in that, but he would go on to play some more, and he would go on to play some more important characters like he voiced Zug, the leader of the Red Yarrow terrorists in the next story arc, and of course his most notable role of them all, he was Darth Maul in Old Wounds, because he sounds exactly like Sam Witwer. So yeah, and this dude gets to be in comic dubs pretty often, especially because of his amazing Sam Witwer Maul impression. So to say that Outlander Part 5 was the most engrossed he's ever been while watching an audio comic, and this dude gets around in the audio comic world, well, very high praise from an extremely talented actor. Jacob Herrera says, "You blew it out of the park." I do my best. Wilbur1QN says, "Asherad Head sounds like a freaking badass." Yeah, he's voiced by one. Or maybe he's talking about the effect that I put on his voice, because he's wearing a mask. But anyways, yeah. I'm glad to do the character justice, because Asherad is one of the greatest EU characters out there, and Ryan was the right choice to voice him. And he hasn't been voiced that much. I don't think he's ever been in an official video game or radio drama, so we didn't really have much to base it off. But yeah, I don't know what I can say. Yeah, Asherad became one of the most popular characters in the dubs. Well, maybe because people already know what he's up to later, but this is a side of him that isn't that well known about, and it's great to show his origins. Sharon Grunwald says, "Really, really well done. I love the cinematic style you used to transition through panels, and your soundtrack is spot on. A joy to watch." Yeah, Sharon says that my comic dubs are also some of the best she's ever been in. She told me this privately over Discord. I'm not sure I should just say that. And she compared it to someone else, and I feel like the video isn't gonna be positive if I show her saying, "Well, your comic dubs are better than the name of other person." But yeah, she did tell me that she holds my Acts of War dub as the standard of what a good comic dub is, and she is in a lot of comic dub. This woman gets around in the voice acting world, so it's great to know she has such a high opinion of me, and thank you very much. And she is the voice of Adigalia, and also Yaddle and Gardula the Hutt. I don't know if I mentioned that. Oh yeah, and Adigalia was there since the beginning, and she's still in the current she's still in the current storyline. So yeah, I'm glad that Sharon is so dedicated to the role that she and willing to do so much voice acting for me. Here's Orion again. "Beautiful work as always, Audial. I love it. Your panel and voice work was especially stellar. The cast really outdid themselves on this one. Keep up the good work, my dude. You just keep on improving." Yeah, when I opened one of the older files for Acts of War, I noticed I use a lot less layers back then than I do now. So if anything, I've certainly gotten a lot more detailed. But yeah, if people can hear a change, that's great. Green Thumb Strummer says, "Great stuff. You will get the views." I sure hope so. But it's so great people have faith in me. I'm kinda used to people doubting me in real life, but Nate Osborne says, "Fantastic work. My favorite voices are Mace and Kiadi, I think." Yeah, Mace Windu is voiced by the very experienced and incredible Gary Scales. And Kiadi,
Well, that was me, so thank you. I'm glad you hold me in such a high standard.
I think I forgot to mention this about Gary, but this dude was in a game for the Nintendo Switch. This guy made it. He has a page on Behind the Voice Actors and everything. There's actually a story about that. I found out that Gary Scales was in a game called My Time at Porsche, and I thought, wow, that's incredible. I gotta tell people about that. I hadn't heard of the game to this point. So I asked my best friend, and she said, I'm obsessed with that game. And I thought, well, can you find the scene where this guy shows up? And she booted up the scene where she watches my comic dubs too, but she didn't make the connection apparently. But we watched the scene together, and Musa showed up, and we immediately recognized the voice. It's so him, and I worked with him, and it's great. The Rise of Daddy Palpy, wonderful name, says, "Your comic vids only seem to get better and better with every post, and I love it. Can't wait for the next issue of Star Wars 98 and any others you have planned." I'm so happy that people love my videos so much. I've had several hyperfixations. I always fixated on voice acting and background music and old Star Wars comics and like the 90s and early 2000s, and I just found a hobby that includes all of that. Like, you take all your interests and squish them together in one hobby. It's like incredible. Everyone deserves to find a hobby like that. J Barstar says, "I really love these comic dubs. The voices and especially the music is fantastic. When is part 3 coming out?" Well, this was 2 years ago, so I guess part 3 already has come out. Throna Del Rey says, "This was some of the best voice acting I've ever heard from a comic dub." Yeah. I know, I can't believe how good my cast is. I guess I have to give myself props for directing them well, but I guess this is all a string of really, really lucky... No, it's not a lot of really lucky coincidences. I need to be positive to myself. Like, if my series wasn't good, then people wouldn't be that eager to be in it. Especially such talented people, like... Or maybe I just have an eye for talent. Who knows? Mods Audio and Video says, "The turnabout on your videos is incredible." Well, your videos in general are incredible though, so no surprise there. Nicely done, everyone. Thanks. Word Writer says, "Superlative production values. Great voice cast. More please." Well, I've got good news for you, Word Writer. There's a whole playlist full of them. I'm Your Alibi says, "Gotta say, whoever voices Aura here does a fantastic job. Yeah, Cecilia Biodes gets to be pretty much the main villain on my channel. Well, she's the main villain of the series, since Aura's in so many comics, and yeah, she's incredible. She's like... And, in Emissaries to Malastare Part 5, there's this old lady who's implied to be Aura's mom, and I asked her, and I wanted to add like a connection, by having them be voiced by the same actress, and yeah, Celia does amazing with her as well. Anuana was also super fun to work with, and also really well played by Celia, but her most iconic role, of course, will always be Aura Singh, and she actually was there very literally since day one, because back in 2017, yeah, like ancient history, I know, I dubbed the beginning of The Hunt for Aura Singh, Part 1. Because I really loved that prologue with like Pierce and Jermichael. And I found an Aura Singh fan dub by Celia, and I was like, "Hey, I wanna voice Aura in one of my videos." And she was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." So we did that. Like I guess you could say that this was like the unofficial pilot episode. And then when I did Jedi Council Acts of War in 2019, I tried to get back in contact with Celia, but I couldn't reach her, so that kinda sucked. But then I wanted to do Outlander, where Aura Singh returns, so I tried getting back in contact with Celia again, and this time it worked, and she actually did reprise the role, which I'm super happy about. And now we actually did the full Hunt for Aura Singh, and I'm very glad to be working with her. Nate Osborne says, "Babe, wake up. New Auditech just dropped. Well, I hope the video was good enough so that your babe wasn't mad at you for waking her." He Who Walks the Desert says, "You're doing Lucas's work, bringing the Force to these comics. I've only read these comics until I found your channel and watched everything up until now. This is the Star Wars I grew up knowing, and have never questioned the expanded universe, the Jedi, and the events that it all took place in. Thank you for all your work, and may the Force be with you." Thank you so much. I hope my comic dubs make the chore of walking through the desert less boring. I guess Outlander won't cheer you up too much with that, or maybe you'll find Kiadi relatable, I don't know. All Sounds says, big up bro. All Sounds is also a pretty popular sound effect channel who I've taken sound effects from. They probably know me because I tagged them, because I always tag them, but hey, to know they actually like and approve of what I'm using their sounds for, that's great. The Dope 2000s. This content is super interesting. I don't think I've ever been on this side of the internet before. It's great finding this type of stuff. Well, I said this before in an earlier comment, but it's always incredible when somebody who isn't even, like, into Star Wars comics likes my stuff. But it might be the 2000s nostalgia, because that's when most of these comics were released. And yeah, I'm definitely intending to full-on go for that 2000s nostalgia. When I did The Hunt for Aura Singh, Part 3 and 4, I actually rewatched the entire Disney's Tarzan TV show, simply because it's also released in 2001, it also takes place in a jungle, it's also based on a movie from 1999 featuring Brian Blessed, and I just want my comic dubs to feel like an old cartoon, so I thought this would be a good show to, like, take cues from in terms of the atmosphere and all that. He Who Walks the Desert again says, you did good with the soundtrack. Already I get the hint of criminal underworld adventure. It is akin to a dungeon or a bandit hideaway in the desert, hence your inspiration. I do see what you mean by the Phantom Menace soundtrack not fitting the bill for this type of genre in Star Wars. On a side note, I find the work done with the Hutt speaking Huttese done well each time I hear it. And this was written under Aura's song, where I actually composed all the music from scratch, and one of my biggest inspirations is the music from the Aladdin TV show, and that's what he meant with hence the inspiration. Yeah, I just didn't really see myself using the Phantom Menace music for that. I just didn't think it would have really worked for it. I don't know why. But that's another reason why I thought it's brilliant to make a new soundtrack for it, because Aura's song is Aura Singh versus the Anzati. And then I did The Hunt for Aura Singh, and I have music associated with Aura Singh. And then I do Darkness, and I have music associated with the Anzati. It's perfect. Morgan Boudreau says, now I see why it took so long after you told me that the rest of this was in production. You had to take time to prepare all the cool stuff. Absolutely amazing, and yes, Celia is the best to play Aura. She is! Like, I would say Disney needs to hire her, but I don't trust Disney to do a good story with Aura. But yeah, Celia is one of the actresses really carrying this show, because she's the main villain and she does such a memorable and amazing performance. Like, her aura is terrifying and yet very charismatic. Nonny Noodle says, this production is so detailed and beautiful. The voice acting is spot on, and the sound effects are authentic Star Wars. I'm definitely going to hear this in my head whenever I read the comic. Black Flamefire says, a very good episode. The music and effects fitted wonderfully. Now all the characters are together, and I am excited for the next part. Black Flamefire also wasn't really into Star Wars before she watched my dubs, so thank you. I'm glad to hear it. And don't worry, I talked her out of watching the sequels. Morgan Boudreau says, every single person working on this project does amazing work. Very well done, and I agree. Everyone who if you are watching this and you had a place and you had a role in one of my comic dubs, the project is better with you. I don't care if you only had a single line, I'm glad you were there. Crayson Framework says, the sound design is fantastic. Excellent job to all of the team. I do all the sounds myself. Well, I don't make all the sounds, but I place all the sounds myself. And and something that's very good about like making Star Wars dubs is that there's so many video games, so you can get a lot of the sounds, like a lot of the Star Wars exclusive sounds isolated. Marshall Lotta says, I love your channel. I am so happy I find it. I'm also happy you found it. Thank you. Nonny Noodle says, one of the best chapters so far. I love all your voice acting. You guys truly portray these characters so well, and as always, the sound effect and music are on point. Thank you. Oh yeah, Jar Jar Studios Plus actually commented on one of my videos once, saying, and there's the option to translate it. So if you're wondering what oil moi moise means in English, it means thank you, Google Translate. Nate Osborne says, holy crap, man, you just keep dropping the bangers. Christmas is coming early. Tristain says, everyone did such a good job. Jason MV9BT says, thank you all so much for making this. I'm glad I'm making so many people happy. Marshall Lata says, I love your videos, they are so cool. Thanks, I try my hardest. Skater says, love these, keep them coming. Sure will. Marshall Lata says, I love this video, the Unzati are so terrifying. Yeah, I mean, I tried my hardest to put their scariness to sound. But yeah, like, Darkness sure had some horror vibes. Like, they were creepy in Aura's song, but like, then in the story arc Darkness, they were downright nightmare fuel. Jedi Master says, amazing job on the series. Hope you do more in the future. Yeah, sure will. Star Wars Expanded Universe says, this is awesome. The voice cast nailed this great story. Expertly edited and put together as always. Thanks for your work. One Piece Revolution says, the legendary Professor Audial. That's my old channel name for those newer fans here. Medstar says, holy heck, we got a 20-minute episode? This was so worth the wait. Happy day. Jedi Master says, excellent voice acting and range of emotions. Yeah. Concordia Jedi says, great work to everyone, and that's now the new voice of Qui-Gon Jinn. Dark the Relentless says, very good emotion shown in this one, also fun with the improv bits here and there. I'm too proud of the banana line. I actually looked up if bananas exist in the Star Wars galaxy, and they do. They are in the Sesame Street crossover episode. Yes, there's a Star Wars and Sesame Street crossover episode, and there are bananas in it. And I wanted to include that stupid banana line. Yeah. Also, another improv bit from that same episode was that pilot shouting, I want my mommy! Originally, the voice actor wanted to yell, like, nope! But I thought that was too modern, not really Star Warsy, so I changed it. Marshall Lata says, this is so cool, I love this, the voice acting is incredible, great job, may the force be with you, always. Oh, Black Flamefire says, that was an amazing comic, the voice and everything fit so well together. This was commented under the dub of Tides of Terror, and it actually inspired her to draw fan art. And there's fan art inspired by my comic though. I think that's awesome, and she actually refrained from posting it at first because she wanted me to see it first. Yeah, there'll be a link to the fan art in the description. Medstar says, a new audited comic episode, 2 Bad Batch episodes, and the Tales of the Empire trailer. That's how you know I've had a great week. Thank you so much. I know how, like Dave Filoni's fans really love him, so being held in the same regard by one of his fans is a very high honor. Thank you. Dallard Origin says, hello, I've read a few Clone Wars adventures before and they were nice. This one is new for me. Nice dub, especially Dirge. Yeah, so Dallard Origins is a YouTuber whose animations I watched a lot as a kid, so the fact that he now comments on my videos and enjoys my stuff is also really, really astonishing. Dirge, yeah, this guy is talking about, he's talking about Means and Ends, where I voiced every character, because I voiced every character in this comic at one point before. And Dirge is a character who I voiced back in 2015, Ancient History basically, in a Clone Wars Abridged series, which is no longer on YouTube sadly. I'll be getting back to that later though. Silent Fangirl says, as much as I enjoy Maul's continued story in the new lore, this one is still intriguing. I tip my hat to the voice actors. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were great, but Maul and Old Ben stole the show. Yeah, you see, I had one friend, Captain George, who does Obi-Wan, and I had one friend, Sonnenberg, who does Darth Maul. So of course I said, and like at one point, Sonny, who is a fan of this comic, mentioned it at some point in my comic dub. I said, hey, I should dub that. I've got an amazing Darth Maul, I've got an amazing Obi-Wan, and like these two, these two really love their characters. They needed to like have this amazing in-character face-off, and Sony, he didn't just voice Uncle Owen in this. He also provided me with the cover art that I used, which was apparently drawn for some card game. The one I wanted to use originally was from like a Disney comic, which shows Obi-Wan between episodes 3 and 4. But the one he sent me, it's so much cooler. So yeah, thanks Sonny, you're awesome, especially as Mikey Geert, and thanks for George and Sonnenberg for being Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. Val Kienick says, fantastic scoring, really captures the musical sense of Star Wars. Yeah, so Val Kienick is also a voice actress. She was in some of my dubs, most notably as the Kaminoan at the beginning of Means and Ends. And she's also a music composer, and so I'm glad that with her I can have like music talks with. Her style is very different from mine. It's more like techno-y, and mine is more orchestral sounding. So I'm glad she likes my work despite doing a completely different thing. So thanks, Val Kienick, and thanks for all your amazing voice work as well. Spooky Ruins Fest says, your voice is so nice to listen to.
Oh, Spooky. My voice will say anything you want to you. I would let you listen to my voice all night long.
Orion Zack says, How? How did you achieve this power? Lol, this is so cool, dude! And I must admit, I agree with Butch on this one. Keep it up, bro. Never ever stop voice acting, capisce? Now this was in response to a friend of mine, actually the same friend you just saw, Spooky Ruins Fest, asking, what's his name, Edward Stewart to shout me out in character as Butch from Pokemon, and yeah, so that's how I achieved it. And yeah, it's just very, if nothing else, Butch from Pokemon is rooting for me, and I'm not disappointing him. Some random guy who's chillin' says, I'm swearing this is a masterpiece. Thanks. Devon Blackwell says, this is gold, still hilarious the 7th time watching, especially fitting since today is 83 years since the day Long John Baldry was born. Rest in peace, and well, I guess happy post-mortem birthday. Long John Baldry is one of my greatest role models in terms of voice acting. I'm just glad I can make people laugh and smile with my content. It's amazing. Bringing joy is so much better than being mean. Like, why do you want to be mean and hurt people when you can get comments like this instead? Tuganium says, wonderful homage to a classic meme. Tuganium is also someone who I've watched before they've watched me. I really liked their response videos. I think they articulate their points well, so glad you like my memes. Real Christian says,
Fingers.
that was hilarious. Great impression, by the way. Long John Baldry as Dr. Robotnik is really hard to do. Like, and that's like the two voices I need to do the most. Long John Baldry and Tony J. If I can do their voices, I'm happy. Brainy Expat says, I am blown away. How the hell do you change your voice like that? That's amazing. Yeah, that was commented under my Aladdin fandub, where I voiced Mosenrath, Khartoum, and Xerxes.
Khartoum, of course, was voiced by Tony Jay in the original episode, so of course I voiced him like that.
Mosenrath, I did one that's close to my own one, but more with that, broody, evil he's not broody, but evil teen energy. And
Xerxes isn't one I really practiced before, but I don't know, it's just one I can do, I guess. Mosenrath, yeah.
Also, Xerxes was voiced by Frank Welker, who also did like Abu and The Cave of Wonders. This man's range is really incredible. Blame Society Films says maybe it was a subtle nod to us or something. Yeah, so this one isn't like overtly positive like the others, and it wasn't. You see, I'm including this because it's Blame Society Films, the guys who made Chad Vader. I used to love watching Chad Vader as a kid, and now they're commenting on my page. It's incredible. River Desert says, very great voice work on this. Mad props to all of you. I don't know how my cast is so good. I don't know how I got such a good cast. I just did, okay? Megan Gleason says, this is awesome, great job. Thunder Rider VA says, I love this comic. Whoever voiced Frollo did an amazing job.
Well, plot twist, Thunder, that was me.
Thunder was being sarcastic. He's an old friend. He knows that I can impersonate Tony J. Operantis is again.
Your performance is outstanding. Barely know this character and you instantly drew me in. The conflict, the stutter, the poor desperate voice begging for appreciation or mercy. That's what you call a great vocal performance.
He's talking about the video where I did like a little voice demo for Killer Moth. I haven't voiced Killer Moth a lot, which is a shame. I really love that character. If you have like a DC project, please let me voice Killer Moth. Oh, here's Thunder again. Your voice of Killer Moth is the one I hear in my head when I'm reading comics. It's like what Mark Hamill is to the Joker is to me. You're the definitive Drury Walker. Thank you. I guess it just isn't the real definitive Drury Walker since he doesn't show up in that many things, but hey. DC, if you're listening, I'll do it for you. Thunder Rider VA says, OMG, that was awesome. Everyone involved in this did so well. Thank you. Crystalline Geek says, we love you too. Always and forever a fan. God bless you. Aww. Oh yes, here's a little Tumblr chat I had with somebody. We had like a blog where they're like a fan blog for Fode and Beat, the two-headed announcer from episode 1. I just told them, nice to meet a fellow Phantom Menace appreciator. And they said, hello there. Peace offering. Smiley. Oh wait, I just realized who you are! Dude, you're really great at voice acting and someone recognized me again! This is incredible! People recognize me! People recognize me! Sorry if I came across as rude or something. I've had a lot on my mind lately and a lot of things I've been working on, lol. Right now I'm watching all the Star Wars 98 playlist and dude, these are all good. All of y'all... is that a word? All of y'all did a great job. Hope you have a good day. It's certainly a lot better now, thanks. So far, I am loving the music too, and the sound effects are very nicely placed. And I especially love how all the voices fit the characters, especially characters who never appeared in the movies. I don't know how to explain it, but like, you know how you can look at a character and imagine how you think they'd sound? Yeah, that. Love that. Yeah, sometimes, I get people who... Sometimes I just look at a character and have like a voice in their head. Like sometimes it's just like, oh, this guy probably have like a deep voice, but Sui Choi, Zhao, and Thorm are 3 characters who I had very specific voices for when I read them, and they're basically exactly what you hear in the dubs. Like these voice actors basically, I'm calling them by name, they deserve it. Orion, Chad Noss, and Aaron Waters. basically read my mind for how I wanted them to sound. It's incredible. It's like they took the voice right out of my imagination and sent it to me as an MP3 file. It couldn't have been any better, especially for these 3 characters specifically. Here's something from Tumblr user Holocron in the restricted section. Guys, do you like Star Wars comics? Do you want them read to you panel by panel, complete with multiple voice actor sound effects and music? Then check out Professor Audiel's comic dub for the comic Star Wars Jedi Council Acts of War. These videos are absolutely amazing. The work that went into them is incredible. The voice acting is superb and the sound effects are spot on. Honestly, it feels like a Lucasfilm approved production. Go give it a watch. And in the tags she writes, honestly, this is so great. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this. I can't wait for the 4th installment to be finished. And in another post she writes, this project takes you panel by panel through a Star Wars comic, complete with a full voice cast, sound effects and music from the films. It's the best presentation of a comic I've ever seen. It's incredibly enjoyable and I highly recommend it. Thanks for sharing this with me. Okay, something funny about this user. I first talked to her when she had drawing requests open, and I requested her to draw Depa Billaba, and we got along pretty well, we talked a lot. And someday she decided to get into voice acting, and as fate would have it, she found her way into my voice cast, and the most notable character she's voiced is Depa Billaba. Our friendship has come full circle. It's incredible. Kooky Cat writes, hi, I just wanted to say that I loved how you voiced Fife. So cute and epic and awesome. It's like my dreams come true. Many thanks. This is in reference to Darth Maul, son of Dathomir, where I played Fife, the Pike. And I would later reprise that role when Everest Production did a radio drama of Dark Disciple. And they actually asked me, and even though that was when Fife got an official voice, they asked me to do my old voice for the character,
I assumed Fife would have a...
It's kind of the opposite of Brother Viscous.
I assumed Fife would have a high voice, but then in the actual episode, he has a deep voice.
But yeah... Okay, but apparently that Fife of all my characters made a woman scream in pleasure. I'm glad to hear it. And, this is what Kooky Cat wrote under that actual video that I voiced him in. I totally love everything. Amazing voice acting, amazing editing. God bless you guys. You are epic as always, much love. Holy catnip, it was my dream for years to hear that cute Pike's voice. I am hardcore gay for Pikes. Merciful heavens, it's perfect. Fangirl screams.
Darth Sidious approves this message.
And another one that she wrote to the fine folks at Star Wars Audio Comics. God bless you for making this. I was literally crying of happiness while listening. You are all so talented. Oh, Fife's voice is extremely cute and pro. I love Pikes. And here's a really old one. 2015. Remember when I said that I voiced Dirge back in a Clone Wars Abridged show? That was how the director replied to it. No, don't be sorry, I just listened to the voice clips. The battle droids were good, but when I got to Dirge, absolutely amazing. No one could have done it better. I actually got goosebumps after hearing it. And yeah, this is I think the oldest message in this, so I guess I kept it for last, but I'm very, very thankful for every single person who supported me over the years, who still supports me to this day, of course. And I don't know, I want to leave them a message of positivity. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful night, be nice to someone. Yeah, I hope this video may have made you happy too. And remember, the world is a better place with you in it. I'm gonna sign out for now.